Okay guys, this is Dad Alice, aka Yoshua, and this is how I became a computer science student at the University of Pretoria. When I was younger, I had many interests, but out of all of them, my interest in computers and software has been the most prominent in my life. In grade 2, I got introduced to basic programming through my sister, who was in grade 10 and had IT as a subject, in which they used this programming language called Scratch as a starter. We got this program on our computer, and some days I would sit in front of our computer trying to make stuff and happen on Scratch. At that time, there was some built-in code for some sprites, and that was all I used. I would change a few values and see how it affected the behavior of the sprite. Scratch had grabbed my attention, and I soon started making my own games with it. When I was in grade 7, I stumbled upon the website for Scratch, and I realized that I could share my games with other people across the internet. From there, my first Scratch account was born, John-6_7. Why John? I don't know. I just felt like I shouldn't expose my real name on the internet. I spent hours on weekends coding small games, and I ended up making a YouTube channel, John the Scratcher, to show how I made the games. In grade 8, I felt like I wanted to become a YouTuber, and I thought I needed a unique name for my channel, so I made a new YouTube channel called Dad Alice. The name used the word Alice, which is the Afrikaans word for everything. I wanted my channel to be able to include every type of interest I had. I made more Scratch tutorial videos, and I played other people's Scratch games on the channel. I also had some other videos on more random interests I had at the time. When I came to grade 9, COVID hit the world, and I ended up spending most of my year at home. I know COVID was bad, but I think the lockdown was one of the best things that ended up happening. I got my own laptop for online school that year, and from there my real coding journey began. Our home computer was quite old, so it was beginning to become slower. Now, with my own laptop, I could install more intensive software for making games. I installed Unity, the game engine, and I started to make games on it. From there, I learned C#, and I also installed Python and learned the basics of Python. In grade 10, I also took IT as one of my subjects. I soon realized programming was my favorite passion, as I excelled in the subject. I would always use some free time in class to try and make games on Delphi, even though Delphi wasn't really designed for that, but I ended up making Flappy Bird on it. In class, I also realized that I could code a program that can eat up all the computer's memory, and I even coded something that could take up all the storage on the computer. I was never into hacking, but doing harmless stuff did interest me a bit. I also joined the robotics club at the school. There, I learned a few basics of working with Arduinos, and I also picked up the basics of C++. There were a few interesting robots that we built, but the part that I enjoyed the most was the programming side of things. During the June holidays in grade 11, I spent time learning to work with transistors, and I even considered computer engineering as a possible study path. In grade 12, I also spent time making games on a more lightweight game engine, Godot. I learned GDScript, and I ended up remaking two of my Scratch games on Godot. These two games I published on a website called itch.io, link in description. Making games did give me the idea of possibly studying a course more suited towards art and game design, such as multimedia. I had two friends who had studied electronic engineering and multimedia. My engineering friend tried convincing me to study computer engineering, and my multimedia friend tried to convince me to study multimedia. I knew multimedia did not have maths in the course, and I actually was blessed to enjoy math. On the other hand, engineering had a set program which wouldn't allow me to take electives and to allow myself to broaden my horizons. That is why I decided to study computer science instead. So far, this degree has been full of interesting aspects across different fields, and I look forward to diving deeper into the field of computer science and mathematics throughout my time here at the University of Pretoria.